world, why would you send me?
So this is one of our beats that only captures Will Smith in the room with Varys in the Varys' office in the big medical, or military industrial complex building at Gemini. And he's confronting his father because he's just found out that he's a clone. So Will gave us a fantastic performance. Was terrifying for us because we kept on sort of saying to the filmmakers, our digital will only ever be as good as what Will gives us. And we were trying to challenge Aang to make sure that he never dialed in the visual effects side of the performance, which is something you have to be aware of. And then this day, Will just knocked it out of the park completely, and both Bill and Westhoff and myself were looking at each other going, oh, well, can't use that as an excuse anymore. So we started by taking the rig in front of him is actually two small 4K, 120 frame per second UV cameras. UV being important because they're actually projecting light back onto the face, but as you can see in the plate, there's no light that the camera can see. So it's actually not UV, sorry, it's infrared. The advantage is that we can do this in a totally dark room. We can have them walking in and out of lights. It can be during daylight. The UV lights can still the infrared lights. Keep calling it the one thing. The infrared lights can still see the dots on the face. But it does have the sort of added side effect that makes his face look really young because you can't see the pores anymore because it's seeing into the first layer of the skin. We take those two cameras, we have a piece of software that basically puts locators on every dot. Since we have a stereo pair now, we can use some simple photogrammetry to create a 3D cloud of those points. From there, we feed it into a digital learning solver, which basically has been trained, it's a sort of machine learning kind of thing. It's been trained to know that when this point moves in this way, neighboring to its certain points, that it's firing this muscle group. So what we get out of the facial solver is this first pass of animation. It's good, it's about 95% of the way there, but it's not life yet. So that's where the animators come in, they have to do all their hard work. So here you can see, this is just another shot from the movie. You can see the animators just playing around with all the different controls on the face. For this facial character, this is the most extensive facial character we've done to date. So it had 100 main muscle groups and 600 controller shapes. So that's just the controls that are exposed to the animator. Beyond that, for each one of those shapes, there's combo shapes, there's in-between shapes, there's all sorts of shapes. So the facial animation team that actually models all these shapes, based off of the back session that we do with Will, had their job cut out for them for the entire year. We had 3 different guys working on it for an entire year. Just to show you what I mean by the in-between shapes and everything, this is just him moving his head, tilting it sideways, backwards and forwards, turning left and right. And you can see the sort of main shapes, the sort of all the drab ones are at the end, but then there's combo shapes, there's in-between shapes, there's combo shapes on the in-between shapes, there's corrector shapes on the combo shapes of the in-between shapes, and for just a small matrix of 12 shapes, you end up with a couple hundred. So we put it back down to our junior puppet. We use our in-house real-time renderer called Gazebo. Allows us to visualize this stuff in real time. So it's not the fidelity of Manuka, especially when we're doing a ray shaded render, we don't want the fidelity anyway. But it also, instead of taking 600 hours a frame to render a frame, it only takes about a 20th of a second. You enter with the final shot of the movie.
Then you sent me to kill him. Of all the shooters in the world, why would you send me?
My friend Sheldon Stopsack did this particular scene, and kudos to him, he actually did a full-on water sim for all the tears. So, great way just to show that you can spend a lot of time. I keep talking about, one of the things that's fascinating about working in the creative industry is that you get hired because you're supposed to be smart, you're supposed to be clever, and you're supposed to have all the answers. But the truth of the matter is, you're surrounded by people who are just brilliant. The facial system was a guy named Arthur Bill, who came up to me at one point. The shading team came up to me and said, we think we have a better way to do this. And I said, sure, let's try it. In this case, we have one of our animators named Stuart Adcock, who basically said, I think we can do face shapes better. I think we can do this system, I'm gonna call it deep shapes, where instead of just interpolating from A to B, I'm going to treat the shapes as if they have varying depths inside the skin, inside the fascia.